Oz. Behind this graffiti name was a man named Walter Joseph Fisher, a graffiti writer, graffiti artist in general. To some, he was a public nuisance. To others, he was a misunderstood genius. But no matter which side of the line you stood on, one thing was undeniable. Oz changed the landscape of urban Germany one piece at a time. Oz was born in 1950 in the historic city of Heidelberg, which is nestled in the southwest of Germany. His early years weren't marked by fame or notoriety. They were actually quite quiet, undocumented, the way many lives begin. It wasn't until the late 70s, especially 1977, that Oz found his voice through graffiti. Long before graffiti was commodified or discussed, Fisher was already moving through city streets under the cover of night, paint in his hand, marking his presence one wall at a time. Unlike many other graffiti writers driven by hip-hop culture, turf, or letters, Oz had found his own unique visual language. He didn't focus on elaborate pieces or wild-style burners. Instead, his tags were deceptively simple. Smiley faces, spirals, dots, lines, abstract patterns, repetitive, cryptic, and strangely joyful, but it was that repetition that gave him power. In the early 1990s, Oz relocated to Hamburg, or however you say it, and that's where the name Oz exploded, figuratively and literally onto the walls, rooftop, trains, underpasses, stairwells, elevators. His tags were everywhere, and at one point, locals estimated that there were more than 120,000 incidences of his work across Hamburg. Think about that. Over 100,000 marks, each one done illegally, unsanctioned, often erased by city crews, only to be replaced again. He was pretty relentless, and not just prolific, but obsessive. This, of course, didn't go unnoticed by authorities. In the eyes of the law, Oz wasn't an artist, or a writer, or anything. He was a serial offender, an actual vandal, a repeat criminal who cost the city thousands upon thousands of euros in cleanup efforts. His tagging led to a long list of legal consequences. His first major conviction for property damage came in 1986. But of course, that was just the beginning of it all. Over the decades that followed, Oz would be tried and convicted multiple times. His actions resulted in over 8 years of accumulated prison time, served in chunks as the cycle of tag, arrest, release, repeat continued. And yet, no matter how many sentences he served, no matter how many walls were buffed, he never stopped. Every time he got out of prison, he picked up a can of paint and started again. It was more of a compulsion, and it was definitely his identity. Oz didn't just use graffiti to express something. He basically was the graffiti. He kind of had to do it. Critics saw him as an aging vandal who refused to just grow up. But supporters saw something different. They saw a man who refused to conform. Someone who fought isolation, depression, and mental health struggles with paint. Public interview from the early 2000s revealed that Oz had lived through psychiatric institutionalization. He had no interest in earning money or fame. He lived modestly, even after decades of notoriety. To him, his graffiti wasn't about the rebellion in the political sense. It was about freedom, motion, and presence. Oz's graffiti wasn't about beautifying the city in any traditional sense. It was about disrupting monotony, and that's exactly what he did. He disrupted silence, emptiness, loneliness, with 1,000 faces smiling back at the people walking by. Over many years of Oz doing his graffiti, going in prison, going back and forth, in early autumn of 2014, it came to an abrupt halt. On the night of September 25th, 2014, Walter Joseph Fisher, Oz, was out doing what he always did. He had snuck into a section of Hamburg's S-Bahn, the city's subway system, and began painting. Witnesses would later say it was clear he was active that night, tagging an area with a fresh piece. And of course, a can of spray paint was found nearby. The wall was still wet. Sadly, what had happened was, while Oz was walking along the tracks in the dark, a train came out of nowhere and Oz. It was a quiet, tragic ending for a man who had spent nearly 40 years writing his name on the world, leaving his mark on the world. At the time of his death, he was actually 64 years old, no longer the young writer running across rooftops, but still doing what he loves until the very last moment. His death sent shockwaves through Germany's scene and communities. Some mourned his and others criticised, but many actually came together to honour him. Over 350 people came to pay their respects. Writers, punks, artists, outcasts, and other graffiti writers actually went out and did tribute pieces on trains and walls commemorating Oz, and this one word kept popping up around: Oz. His legacy has shifted, and generally when someone passes away within the graffiti scene and they're well known, people will make rest in peace pieces, memorial pieces. Oz was always more than just a criminal. He was a city's phantom, a maker of marks, and in the end, he died doing the very thing that gave him life to begin with.
Good? Deixa que eu pego a esquerda. Porque eu preciso fazer o boneco no meio. Is he okay? He's coming back. Wait. Stay down. Bem pouquinho. Tô matando agora no personagem. Tô usando agora no personagem.
Tem um verde aqui pra poder ser entendeu?
Qual verde?
O verde pistado.
O que tu fez?
Eu fiz tipo um tijolinho assim quebrado. Também não tem ninguém.
Cara, não precisa. Não precisa. Não, pode fazer na real, pode fazer. Espalhado assim na peça.
Vou.
Yeah?
I think we have to leave.
Really?
Yeah. We'll leave.
No?
Okay.